Hi friends, I am Rich Cooper from Patterson Schwartz in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Welcome to Sun, Sand, and Sold, where we look at home tours as well as other topics of interest for people who are looking to move to Sussex County, Delaware. Well, today we're going to discuss Sussex County by the numbers. In other words, housing costs, utility expenses, income tax, property tax, any other expenditures that you would incur if you lived here in Sussex County, Delaware. Some stats about the demographics of Sussex. First, well, not just demographics, we're also talking about prices, like the average price of a home. From 2025, the average price of a house in Sussex County, Delaware was $486,900. But if you want to be at the beach, if you want to be in Lewes, Rehoboth, Fenwick Island, Dewey Beach, any place like that, Bethany Beach, you're going to be paying much more. Probably between $650 and $1.2 to $1.5 million, depending on how close you are to the water. And that's location, location, location. Now, inland, you're talking substantially more. Inland meaning about 10 miles in. I mean, you're still not that far from the ocean, but the towns won't be considered tourist towns. In other words, you'll be able to drive through them during the weekend. I'm talking about Millsboro, Milton, Dagsboro, Franklin, those areas, which aren't far from the beach, but they're not considered beach towns. Well, now about demographics. This is a pretty high retirement area, so the average age is going to be a little higher than the other two counties in the state. The average in Sussex County is 51.9 years old, which is still younger than I am. Again, these statistics are from the 2025 census. The population is rather small, 277,000 people in Sussex County. Considering how large a county it is, that's not a lot of people. Of all that, 81% of these people own their own homes. Now, that is very high, I think, for two reasons. First, there's just a lot of homes here available. Also, there aren't a lot of apartments, so you really don't have much of a choice. What does it cost to live here per month? Well, now it all depends whether you have a mortgage or not, of course. If you don't have a mortgage, the average is around $535 a month. That does not include your phone. That would include the water, the sewer, gas, taxes, all your taxes. So that's really not that much. How could it be so low? Well, I think the biggest part of it, of course, is the property taxes, which are very, very, very low. One of the lowest in the country. You'll probably be paying anywhere between $500 and $1,200 a year in property taxes. So that's why that expenditure is low. Of course, then you've got to add your phone, internet connection to that. Which could range from very little to very expensive depending on what you need at home. Speaking of internet, 95.7% of all people in Sussex County have internet and computers and use them on a daily basis, basically. So that's very important. We're pretty highly educated. Over 90% of the people in Sussex County have a high school education. 33% have a postgraduate education. So in general, this is a relatively wealthy and well-educated county. However, nothing is perfect. 9.5% of the population of Sussex County, they do live below the poverty line. There are 253.6 number of people per square mile, which really isn't that much. For the heck of it, I looked up what New York City, we can't compare Delaware to New York City, but New York City has 29,000 people per square mile, and we only have 253. So, oh well. Talk about extremes here. What about utilities? I was going to talk about utilities. There are two major electric companies in Delaware, Delmarva Power and the Delaware Electric Cooperative. They are different. Delmarva Power is your normal, average, everyday power company, and the cooperative buys power when it is cheap and then turns around and sells it to you at a discount price. So it is cheaper to have the Delaware Cooperative. They also do an interesting thing called Beat the Peak. They'll tell you when the electricity is the most expensive to use. That only happens a few times, and it's usually like during a heat wave where everyone's got their air conditioning blasting, and or it's cold out and everyone's got all their heat pumps going. They'll say, try to cut back a little bit because it's a little more expensive. And actually, once you've lived here 10 years, they start giving you dividends at the end of the year of money they've made because it is a cooperative. So that's pretty cool. Average monthly electric bill, again, depending on the size of your house, the number of people, how hot you like it, how cold you like it, but it usually ranges from between $150 to about $200 a month. Again, that is an average. You're going to get $25, $30 a month bills during the spring and fall, and $300 bills during if it's a very cold winter or a very hot summer. But it does average out to about $150 to $200 a month. Excuse me. Outlying areas, most people in Sussex County, well, it's about 50% of the people in Sussex County are on well and or septic. Delaware is working very hard to expand their septic system. So again, if you are in a place that has your own well and your own septic system, your monthly payments obviously are going to go down about $150, $120, $150. Your average water bill is about $80 bucks a month. And sewer bill can range. There's all different sewer systems around, and some are private sewer systems, some are public sewer systems. So it's just wherever. Excuse me. There are a lot of water providers, so that's sort of it can be low as 40 bucks a month for water and as high as 85, 90. All depends on your usage. There's no inheritance tax or estate tax in Delaware. It may not benefit you, but it may benefit your heirs. Also, personal income tax. Delaware does have a personal income tax depending on your income. Of course, it goes from 2.2% to 6.6%. The average is probably going to be about 4.4%. That sort of makes sense. It all depends on your income. Another biggie, there's no sales tax. There's no sales tax on anything. So considering, if you're from a state that has a 7% sales tax, you're saving 7% on everything that would be taxed. I know New Jersey doesn't tax, I think, food and clothing, but other states in the area do tax just everything. And Delaware taxes nothing. So that's it adds up quickly. I actually did some figuring, and it's amazing how much you could save. Okay, those are the numbers. So if you have any questions for me about anything I just said, or any questions dealing with real estate in Sussex County, please call me. Here's my phone number. I tried to do this. This is cute. And let me know. Please follow and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it so much. I'm trying to get the good news out to as many people as possible. And hit the like button, and please leave a comment. Everyone that watches me, no one leaves comments. I'm getting paranoid. Please leave a comment. Thank you so much. And I'll tell you what, I'll see you at the closing. Bye-bye.